Before this message ends, heaven will make something clear to you. Your suffering has reached its expiration date. I watched you cry in silence long enough, and today, I am stepping into your storm. My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen carefully to me, because this is not an ordinary message crossing your path by accident. Heaven interrupted your day for a reason. I brought you here because your soul has carried pain for too long, and today I refuse to remain silent while you continue fighting battles that have exhausted your heart. I know how tired you have become. I know there were moments recently when you smiled in front of people while silently breaking inside. I know there were nights when your chest felt heavy with fear and your mind would not stop racing no matter how badly you wanted peace. I know there were moments when tears filled your eyes and you quickly wiped them away because you did not want anybody asking questions you were too exhausted to answer. But my child, I saw every single moment. You thought many of those tears disappeared unnoticed into the darkness of your room, but nothing about your pain escaped my attention. Every sleepless night mattered to me. Every silent prayer mattered to me. Every moment you sat alone trying to survive emotionally mattered to me. I know there were nights when you stared into silence asking me how much longer you would need to endure this heaviness. You wondered if your life would ever truly change or if suffering would continue following you everywhere you went. You tried to stay hopeful, but disappointment kept attacking your spirit over and over again until your heart became tired of hoping. Still, even during those moments when your faith felt weak, I remained beside you. My precious child, there were times recently when you felt emotionally trapped. You carried burdens nobody fully understood. Responsibilities became heavier. Fear became louder. Loneliness wrapped itself around your thoughts. You became tired of pretending you were okay when inside you felt drained from constantly fighting unseen battles. Some mornings you woke up already exhausted before the day even began. Some nights you cried quietly because the pressure building inside your spirit felt too overwhelming to explain. But hear me clearly now, your suffering was never invisible in heaven. I know there were moments when you questioned whether I still heard your prayers. You watched time pass while situations remained unchanged, and slowly the enemy began whispering dangerous lies into your thoughts. He told you nothing would ever improve. He told you your prayers were pointless. He told you you were forgotten while everybody else moved forward. But my beloved child, those whispers were never the truth. The truth is that I have been carrying you through every painful season, even while you struggled to feel my presence clearly. Do you remember the moments when you almost gave up completely? I remember them too. I remember the nights your soul felt so emotionally exhausted that you could barely continue. I remember the mornings when fear sat heavily upon your chest before you even stepped out of bed. I remember the times when disappointment broke your spirit so deeply that you stopped talking about your dreams because hoping hurt too much. But I also remember something else. Despite everything, you kept surviving. Even when you felt weak, you continued moving forward one painful step at a time. And my child, the reason you survived seasons that should have destroyed you is because my hand never left your life. The enemy thought suffering would bury your purpose forever. He believed heartbreak would make you lose faith completely. He thought delays would convince you that heaven abandoned you. That is why your mind has been attacked so fiercely lately. That is why fear has tried to control your thoughts at night. That is why discouragement has wrapped itself around your emotions repeatedly. Darkness recognized that something was beginning to shift around your life spiritually. The enemy became terrified that you were approaching the end of one painful season and the beginning of another. He knew your breakthrough was closer than you realized. So he tried to exhaust your spirit before you reached it. But today heaven is making a decision about you. Today I am stepping directly into the middle of your storm. Today I am interrupting the cycle of hopelessness that tried to settle over your soul. Today I am reminding you that your pain does not have permission to stay forever. I know what broke your heart. I know what disappointed you. I know the betrayal you still think about. I know the prayers that seemed unanswered for too long. I know the moments when loneliness made you question your value. But listen carefully now. Your suffering has reached its limit. My child, I did not create you to live trapped inside endless sorrow. I did not design your spirit to carry fear forever. I did not bring you this far just to watch despair consume your future. There is a reason you are still here after everything that tried to destroy your peace. There is a reason your heart still carries even the smallest spark of hope despite all the battles you survived. It is because I have not finished writing your story yet. I know pain changed you. I know suffering made you quieter. I know disappointment taught you to hide your emotions because you became tired of explaining wounds people could not fully understand. But heaven still sees the real you beneath the exhaustion. I still see the gentle heart hidden beneath the fear. I still see the dreams you stopped talking about because disappointment became too painful. I still see the strength inside you even while you feel emotionally weak. And today I am calling that strength back to life again. My beloved child, there are blessings moving toward you that your current pain cannot yet fully understand. There are doors I am preparing that will change the direction of your life completely. There is healing beginning inside your spirit even now while you listen to my voice. I know you became tired of waiting. I know you became afraid to expect good things because heartbreak wounded your hope repeatedly. But I need you to trust me now more than ever before. Do not let temporary pain convince you that your future has disappeared. Do not allow exhaustion to make you quit at the edge of breakthrough. Say amen. I believe in divine power if you know miracles still flow today. I have watched you cry long enough. I have watched you fight battles silently long enough. I have watched you carry emotional pain quietly long enough. And now heaven is declaring that this season cannot continue forever. Your suffering just ran out of time. The tears that once filled your nights will not define the rest of your story. The heartbreak that wounded your spirit will not bear your future. The fear that attacked your thoughts will not rule your life forever. I am stepping into your situation with power, love, healing, and restoration. What darkness meant to destroy is about to become proof of my faithfulness in your life. You may not fully see it yet, but things are already shifting around you spiritually. Doors are beginning to move. Chains are beginning to weaken. Situations that looked impossible are quietly changing behind the scenes because I have commanded heaven to move on your behalf. Your miracle did not begin the moment you noticed it. It began the moment I spoke restoration over your future long before today arrived. So breathe again, my child. Hope again. Trust me again. I know the journey has been painful. I know your heart feels tired. But I promise you this with all the authority of heaven behind my words. This painful chapter will not last forever. A season that caused your tears is coming to an end. I am restoring strength back into your spirit. I am rebuilding peace inside your mind. I am healing the wounds you thought would never fully recover. And no matter how broken you feel right now, never forget this truth: what broke you will not bury you. Your suffering has reached its ending point. Heaven has already made its decision about you. My beloved child, I need you to quiet the noise around you for a moment and listen carefully to my voice, because this moment was not created by accident. Heaven intentionally interrupted your day because your soul has been carrying pain for far too long. I know how exhausted you have become. I know there were moments recently when you felt emotionally numb because your heart became tired of carrying disappointment after disappointment. I know there were nights when you laid awake staring into darkness while fear whispered thoughts into your mind that you could barely silence. I know there were mornings when getting out of bed already felt difficult because your spirit was weary before the day even began. But today I need you to understand something clearly. Your suffering has never been invisible to me. You may have felt forgotten by people around you. You may have felt unnoticed while silently fighting battles nobody fully understood. Some looked at your smile and assumed you were okay. Some saw you continuing your responsibilities and believed you were strong enough to handle everything alone. But I saw deeper than the surface. I saw the pressure building inside your chest. I saw the tears you hid quickly before anyone noticed. I saw the fear you carried about your future. I saw the loneliness that wrapped around your thoughts at night when everything became quiet. And through every painful moment, I remained beside you even when you struggled to feel my presence. My precious child, I know there were times recently when you questioned whether your prayers even mattered anymore. You prayed for relief. You prayed for peace. You prayed for change. Yet situations remained heavy, and disappointment kept returning like waves crashing against your spirit repeatedly. Slowly, exhaustion began draining your hope. You started wondering how much longer you would need to survive emotionally before something finally changed. The enemy used those moments to whisper lies into your thoughts. He told you heaven was silent because heaven abandoned you. He told you your tears no longer mattered. He told you your suffering would continue forever. But my beloved child, none of those whispers were true. The truth is that I have remained close beside you through every sleepless night you survived. I was there during the moments when anxiety sat heavily upon your chest and your mind refused to rest. I was there during the nights when you cried silently because you felt too emotionally tired to explain your pain anymore. I was there during the moments when fear convinced you that your future was falling apart. Even when your faith became weak, my love for you never weakened. Even when you struggled to hear my voice clearly, I continued carrying you through battles you did not even realize you were surviving. My child, there were moments recently when you became emotionally overwhelmed from carrying so much pressure alone. Responsibilities kept increasing while your strength kept decreasing. You became tired of trying to hold everything together while secretly falling apart inside. Some days you felt emotionally disconnected from everyone around you because nobody fully understood the battle taking place within your soul. You learned how to pretend you were okay because explaining your pain became exhausting. You smiled while hurting. You comforted others while silently needing comfort yourself. You encouraged people while privately wondering whether anybody would ever notice how deeply you were struggling too. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us, given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. But heaven noticed. I noticed every hidden battle. I noticed every silent breakdown. I noticed every exhausted prayer. And today heaven is interrupting your suffering because I refuse to let despair continue controlling your heart. My beloved child, I know disappointment wounded you deeply. There were prayers you expected me to answer sooner. There were situations you hoped would change you faster. There were relationships that hurt you more than you admit openly. Some people walked away from you when you needed support the most. Others failed to appreciate your loyalty, your kindness, and your love. Those experiences left wounds inside your spirit that you rarely speak about because part of you became afraid of being hurt again. Pain taught you to protect your emotions. Pain taught you to lower your expectations. Pain taught you to stop hoping too much because disappointment became unbearable. But I did not create you to live trapped inside emotional survival forever. I did not design your spirit to carry endless heaviness. And I did not bring you through every painful season just to watch hopelessness bury your future. Listen carefully to me now, because heaven is making something very clear today. Your suffering has reached its limit. I know there were moments when you almost gave up completely. I remember the nights your soul felt so emotionally exhausted that even praying became difficult. I remember the moments when tears rolled down your face because you felt mentally overwhelmed and spiritually drained. I remember the times when fear convinced you that nothing would ever improve. But I also remember something else, my child. Despite every painful battle, despite every disappointment, despite every sleepless night, you kept surviving. Even when your strength felt weak, something inside you refused to completely surrender. That strength came from me even when you could not recognize it clearly. The enemy wanted your suffering to destroy your faith completely. He thought heartbreak would silence your hope forever. He believed emotional exhaustion would finally make you quit before your breakthrough arrived. That is why attacks against your mind became so intense lately. That is why discouragement wrapped around your thoughts repeatedly. Darkness recognized that your season was beginning to shift spiritually, and the enemy became desperate to stop you before restoration arrived. But today heaven is interrupting that cycle. Today I am speaking directly into your pain. Today I am stepping into the middle of your storm. And today I am reminding you that sorrow does not have permission to stay forever. My precious child, you need to stop believing the lie that your tears were wasted. Every tear carried meaning in heaven. Every prayer reached my throne even when answers seemed delayed. Every painful moment was seen by me. I know there were times when you felt emotionally invisible, but heaven never stopped watching over you. You may not fully understand why certain battles lasted so long, but I promise you this: your suffering was never meaningless. Even now, while you still struggle to see the full picture, I have been using these painful seasons to shape strength, wisdom, endurance, and deeper faith inside your spirit. I know waiting exhausted you emotionally. I know watching others move forward while your life felt paused became painful. I know there were moments when comparison attacked your confidence and made you question your value. But my child, your timeline was never forgotten in heaven. Delays did not mean abandonment. Silence did not mean absence. And pain did not mean I stopped loving you. Many times what you call delay was actually protection. There were doors I refused to open because they would have destroyed your peace later. There were people I removed because they secretly carried darkness into your future. There were seasons of waiting that strengthened parts of your spirit which comfort could never develop. You are still here because heaven protected you repeatedly. You survived because my hand remained upon your life. You kept breathing because I carried you through moments your own strength could not handle anymore. And now I am calling hope back into your spirit again. My beloved child, I need you to hear this deeply today. What broke your heart will not bury your destiny. What wounded your spirit will not destroy your future. The pain that almost convinced you to quit is not the ending of your story. Heaven has already declared restoration over your life. There are blessings moving toward you even now that you cannot fully see yet. There is healing beginning inside your soul. There are answers approaching that will remind you why you survived every painful season in the first place. So stop believing that nothing will ever change. Stop believing the lie that your best days are gone. Stop convincing yourself that suffering will follow you forever. I am the God who restores exhausted hearts. I am the God who heals hidden wounds. I am the God who steps into impossible situations and changes everything. And right now, my child, heaven is stepping directly into your pain because your suffering has run out of time. My beloved child, there are battles inside you that very few people truly know about. There are wounds you buried so deeply that even you stopped talking about them because carrying them silently became easier than trying to explain the pain. But nothing about your suffering has ever been hidden from me. I know the real condition of your heart. I know the pressure that has been building inside your spirit for so long. I know there were nights recently when your thoughts became so heavy that even resting felt impossible. Your body became tired, but your mind refused to stop racing. Fear kept whispering questions into your spirit about your future, your purpose, your finances, your relationships, and whether life would ever truly feel peaceful again. I know there were moments when anxiety wrapped itself tightly around your chest until breathing itself felt exhausting. You smiled in front of people because you did not want anyone worrying about you, but secretly you were carrying emotional storms nobody else could fully see. Some nights you sat quietly in darkness pretending you were simply tired, when in reality you were emotionally overwhelmed and mentally exhausted from carrying too many burdens at once. You became used to saying, "I'm okay," even while your spirit silently screamed for relief. But my child, I heard every silent cry that never left your lips. There were moments recently when overthinking became your constant battle. You replayed painful conversations repeatedly inside your mind. You questioned your worth after people disappointed you. You blamed yourself for things that were never your fault. You kept wondering whether you were good enough, strong enough, lovable enough, or worthy enough to receive the future you prayed for. The enemy attacked your thoughts relentlessly because he understood something about your destiny that you could not fully see yet. He knew your breakthrough was approaching, so he tried to exhaust your spirit before restoration could arrive. My precious child, I know betrayal changed you deeply. Some people you trusted completely wounded your heart in ways you still struggle to fully heal from. There were moments when you gave your loyalty, your kindness, your love, and your energy to people who never valued the depth of your heart. Some walked away from you during your hardest seasons. Some ignored your pain when you desperately needed comfort. Others spoke words that quietly shattered your confidence and left emotional scars inside your spirit. Even now, certain memories still hurt because your heart never expected those wounds to come from the people you loved most. And because of that pain, part of you became emotionally guarded. You became afraid to trust fully again because disappointment taught you how quickly people can change. You started hiding parts of yourself because you feared rejection. You lowered your expectations because hoping too much became painful. But my child, I never wanted your heart to live trapped inside fear forever. I never designed your spirit to survive only by protecting itself from future pain. I also know the hidden exhaustion you carry from constantly trying to stay strong for everyone else. There were days when people leaned upon you emotionally while nobody noticed how badly you needed support too. You became the person others depended on while secretly wondering who would carry you when your own strength disappeared. Responsibilities continued growing heavier, while your emotional energy slowly became weaker. There were mornings when you already felt drained before the day even began because your soul was carrying stress that nobody else could fully understand. Comment amen. You're turning it for good if you trust His transformation. My beloved child, I know there were moments when loneliness became unbearable. Even when surrounded by people, you still felt emotionally alone because nobody truly saw the depth of the battle taking place within you. Some nights the silence itself became painful because your thoughts grew louder in quiet moments. Fear whispered that nobody genuinely cared. Disappointment whispered that your life would never change. And exhaustion whispered that giving up would finally bring peace. But every one of those whispers came from darkness trying to weaken your hope before heaven's timing arrived. The enemy studied your pain carefully. He noticed the moments when disappointment hurt you the most. He noticed the seasons when unanswered prayers weakened your faith. He noticed the nights when fear attacked your thoughts repeatedly. And he used every painful situation as an opportunity to convince you that heaven forgot your name. That is why spiritual attacks against your mind became stronger recently. Darkness wanted you emotionally drained before a breakthrough could finally appear. The enemy knew if he could destroy your hope, he could delay your confidence in the future I prepared for you. But despite everything, you are still here. Despite every sleepless night, you are still surviving. Despite every heartbreak, your spirit still carries life inside it. Despite every attack against your mind, your faith still exists even if it feels weak sometimes. And my child, the reason you survived seasons that should have completely destroyed you is because my hand never stopped covering your life. I was there during every panic-filled night. I was there during every silent breakdown. I was there during every moment when your chest felt heavy with emotional pain. Even when nobody else understood your struggle, I understood every detail completely. There were moments when you became spiritually tired too. You prayed but felt no immediate answers. You searched for peace but felt trapped inside confusion instead. You wondered whether I still heard your voice because silence lasted longer than you expected. Part of you became afraid to ask for too much anymore because disappointment wounded your expectations repeatedly. But my beloved child, my silence was never abandonment. Even during the seasons when you struggled to feel my presence clearly, heaven remained active around your life. I know there were nights when tears rolled down your face because the emotional pressure inside you became too overwhelming to carry quietly anymore. You cried because you felt exhausted from pretending to be okay. You cried because disappointment kept repeating itself. You cried because your heart became tired of waiting for things to improve. But hear me clearly now, not one tear was wasted. Heaven recorded every painful moment. Every tear mattered. Every prayer mattered. Every sleepless night mattered. My precious child, you became so used to surviving that you forgot what true peace even feels like anymore. You learned how to function while emotionally wounded. You learned how to continue smiling while your spirit silently carried sorrow. But I did not create you merely to survive life. I created you to live with peace, purpose, joy, strength, and hope again. And that restoration is beginning even now while you listen to my voice. I know you became tired of fighting hidden battles nobody could see. Tired of carrying emotional wounds while still trying to appear strong. Tired of pretending your heart was not breaking from the weight of stress, fear, and disappointment. But my child, you no longer need to carry these burdens alone. Bring your exhaustion to me. Bring your anxiety to me. Bring your heartbreak, your fear, your confusion. and your hidden pain to me. Stop hiding the real condition of your soul from the one who already understands it fully. There are parts of your heart that became wounded by rejection, parts wounded by abandonment, parts wounded by disappointment and betrayal. But I am stepping directly into those broken places now with healing, comfort, and restoration. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I am not frustrated by your tears. I am not disappointed by your emotional exhaustion. In fact, my child, I have been waiting for this moment when you finally stop pretending to be strong enough to carry everything alone. You survived because heaven protected you repeatedly. You kept breathing because I carried you when your own strength almost disappeared. And now heaven is preparing to restore the very areas where suffering tried hardest to destroy you. So stop believing the lie that your hidden battles define your future forever. Stop convincing yourself that healing is impossible. Stop assuming your tears changed nothing. I saw every moment. I understood every silent struggle. And I promise you this with all the love of heaven behind my words. The pain you carried in secret will not follow you forever. Your hidden battles are not the ending of your story. They are the proof that even through unimaginable pressure, my hand never left your life for a single moment. My beloved child, I know there were many nights when you sat alone asking me the same painful question again and again. Why is this taking so long? You prayed with sincerity. You cried with honesty. You waited with hope. Yet the answers you longed for seemed delayed, and disappointment slowly settled over your spirit like a heavy cloud. You watched doors remain closed while others around you appeared to move forward. You watched prayers stay unanswered while your heart became increasingly tired from waiting. There were moments when silence hurt you so deeply that you began wondering whether heaven had forgotten your name completely. But my child, I need you to hear this clearly today. The waiting season was never punishment. What you called delay, heaven often called protection. What you thought was abandonment was many times my mercy shielding you from things your heart could not yet fully understand. I know there were opportunities you begged me to release immediately. I know there were relationships you desperately wanted me to preserve. I know there were seasons when frustration grew inside your spirit because life seemed frozen while your soul cried out for movement. But if I had opened certain doors too early, they would have wounded you more deeply than you realize now. If I had answered every prayer exactly when you demanded it, many blessings would have arrived before your spirit was prepared to carry them safely. You only saw the waiting, but I saw the full picture. You saw the delay, but I saw the danger hidden behind certain opportunities. You saw closed doors as rejection, but I saw destruction waiting behind them. My beloved child, there were people you cried over losing who secretly would have damaged your peace even more if they remained. There were situations you desperately wanted that would have eventually broken your spirit if I had allowed them into your life too early. Sometimes my protection looked painful because it required removing things you thought you needed. I know the waiting exhausted you emotionally. I know there were moments when comparison attacked your confidence and made you question your worth. You looked around and saw others receiving blessings while your own prayers remained delayed. The enemy used those moments to whisper lies into your thoughts. He told you everyone else mattered more than you. He told you your time had passed. He told you heaven was silent because heaven stopped caring about your pain. But my child, heaven never forgot you for even a single moment. While you were crying over what was delayed, I was carefully preparing things behind the scenes in ways you could not yet fully see. The waiting season was shaping your spirit in ways comfort never could. Every painful moment was building endurance inside you. Every disappointment was teaching you deeper dependence upon me instead of temporary things. Every delay was strengthening your discernment. Even the tears you cried carried purpose because they softened areas of your heart that pride once controlled. I know suffering felt unfair sometimes. I know there were moments when you questioned why life became so heavy. But some of the deepest transformation inside your soul happened during seasons you never would have chosen for yourself. My precious child, there were hidden spiritual battles taking place around your future that you could not see. While you thought heaven was inactive, I was protecting you repeatedly. There were attacks the enemy planned against your life that never fully reached you because my hand intervened. There were situations that appeared delayed because I was rearranging circumstances for your good behind the scenes. You often focused only upon what was not happening yet, but heaven remained active around your life every single day. Do you remember the moments when you became frustrated with my timing? You thought if one prayer would finally be answered, all your emotional pain would disappear immediately. But I saw deeper than temporary relief. I saw areas inside your heart that still needed healing before certain blessings could safely arrive. You carried wounds from rejection, betrayal, fear, abandonment, and disappointment that silently shaped your thinking. Sometimes you begged for new beginnings while still bleeding emotionally from old heartbreaks. But my child, I love you too much to place beautiful things into hands that are still trembling from unresolved pain. Healing takes time. Restoration takes time. Preparation takes time. And while you begged me to hurry, I was carefully rebuilding your spirit from the inside out. I know silence confused you deeply. There were seasons when my presence felt distant even though your heart desperately searched for reassurance. You prayed and waited for immediate answers, but instead everything around you seemed still. During those moments, part of you became afraid that your prayers no longer mattered. But silence was never proof that I stopped working. Seeds grow in hidden places long before visible fruit appears above the surface. And in the same way, your future was quietly developing beneath the surface during seasons when everything appeared motionless. The enemy wanted your waiting season to turn into bitterness. He wanted disappointment to harden your heart against me. He wanted delays to convince you that trusting me was pointless. That is why discouragement attacked your spirit so heavily during those months. Darkness hoped emotional exhaustion would finally silence your faith completely. But despite every painful delay, despite every confusing season, despite every sleepless night, you are still here listening to my voice today. That alone proves that darkness failed to destroy the purpose I placed inside you. My beloved child, your waiting season was not wasted time. Heaven never wastes tears. Heaven never wastes suffering. Heaven never wastes seasons of preparation. Every painful experience shaped strength inside your spirit that did not exist before these battles began. The wisdom you carry now was developed through disappointment. The compassion inside your heart deepened through suffering. The spiritual maturity growing inside you could only form through endurance. Even though you would never choose those painful seasons again, they created transformation within you that comfort alone never could have produced. I know you became tired of hearing people say, "Just wait," because they did not fully understand the heaviness your soul was carrying. But I am not asking you to wait without purpose. I am asking you to trust that even now, while you still cannot fully see the outcome, I am arranging things in your favor. There are blessings moving toward you that require the stronger version of yourself being developed right now. There are opportunities ahead that your old mindset could not have handled safely. There are doors preparing to open that require greater emotional healing, deeper wisdom, stronger faith, and a spirit more dependent upon me. Type Amen. I trust you fully if you've placed your whole heart in God's hands. And share this video.